Welcome back to Baking with B. This week we're going to be making pumpkin spice muffins. This recipe was sent in by Loretta Charles, and I'm super excited because it's going to kick off November, kick off Thanksgiving. So yeah, this is my first time making it, so let's get started. Alright, so like I said, these are pumpkin spice muffins, and it's a kind of a two-part recipe. You have to make the pumpkin batter, and you also make a little side streusel that goes on top before it goes in the oven. My oven's already preheated, but you preheat the oven to 400 degrees, and you line a cupcake liner with paper things. You can get them at Publix. Alright, so let's get started. First things first is the muffin batter. So I've already measured out all my ingredients as usual, but I will put the ingredients listed for you in the description below. So check it out, or you can follow along with me. So first I'm gonna put in 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. Next, I'm going to add 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Right? 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Next is gonna be the baking powder, not soda, baking powder. Calls for 2 teaspoons. 1, 2. So, I forgot my cinnamon. So, instead, I'm just gonna double up on this pumpkin pie spice. It calls for both pumpkin pie spice and cinnamon, so if you're actually following the recipe, as I should be, but I forgot it, you would do 1 teaspoon of each. So 1 teaspoon of this, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. But I'm just gonna do 2 teaspoons of this. It shouldn't make that much of a difference because pumpkin pie spice has cinnamon in it. 1, 2. All right, so once all of that is added, we're gonna just mix it up like so. Alrighty, that looks good. Alright, so this, it says you use a fork to mix in the rest of the ingredients. So I'm gonna add my pumpkin puree. It's a cup of pumpkin puree. It's usually in a can in the baking section of wherever you're shopping. So I'm gonna add that. Alright, so I got the pumpkin. It calls for 1 egg, sugar. So this is 1/2 cup of sugar. Get that in there. Milk. I just used fat-free milk, but you know, you can use whole, skim, whatever. So this is going to be 1/2 cup of milk. 1/2 cup of vegetable oil or canola oil, whatever you have is fine. Just probably not olive oil. Oh, I'm sorry, not 1/2 cup, 1/4 cup. Make sure you always double check your recipes. That would have been a little bad. All right, so now that all is combined, I'm just gonna use my fork. All right, so I mixed it all up. This is what it looks like. My cameraman said that it kind of looks like peanut butter. Now you're just gonna put it into your muffin tins before you make the streusel. I usually just take like 1/3 cup, like the measuring cup, and that's kind of how I make sure I'm putting it evenly. I usually do about 1/2 of the 1/3 cup, and then if it needs more, you just kind of eye it. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're not trying to impress anyone. All right, so all lined up, and now I'm gonna make the topping for it. So you just get another small bowl, and then it's 3/4 cup of sugar, 3/4 cup of flour. Again, I forgot my cinnamon, so I'm just gonna use this pumpkin pie spice again. This calls for 1.5 teaspoons, so I'm going to do about 2.5 teaspoons to 3. And 1 tablespoon of milk. And then this is just 1/4 cup of softened butter. Not melted, softened. You just put it in there. And then you just take a fork and kind of mash it together like so. Alright, so I just put the streusel on top. And it says to bake for 15 to 20 minutes, so I'm gonna probably set my timer for 10 because I've never done this recipe before. And check it out and then take it from there. All right, so I'm just gonna put them in the oven. Again, always make sure your rack is in the middle. Alrighty. Kitchen timer for 10 minutes. And we'll check back after 10 minutes. Alright. They've been in for about 16 minutes. So I just kind of put the knife in and see if it comes out dry. Looks pretty good to me, so I'm gonna go ahead and take them out. Put them on a cooling rack. So yeah, I just left them in for about 16 minutes. The 10 minutes definitely needed more time. So don't forget to like and subscribe and comment if you want a different recipe or if you try this recipe and love it or hate it. I would love some feedback. So I'm excited to try them because I've never had these. So let me know how it goes and I'll see you next week.